Steve, let's talk about reasonable risk, because there was the debate on Tuesday night, as you say, that I moderated. The rules from the Cleveland Clinic could not have been more clear. Everyone in the audience was to wear a mask. The president and the former vice president and I were the only ones exempt from that. We've got a picture up on the screen. After the first family came in, they all took off their masks. So did the White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows. Do they think that the health and safety rules for everybody else do not apply to them?
No, that's not the reality. Look, everybody was tested before that event, as you well know. Those of us who went first were tested by Cleveland Clinic directly. Everybody who gets on Air Force One for any trip on Air Force One is tested before they get on.
Steve, it doesn't matter. Steve, it doesn't matter. Everybody that was in that room was tested. Steve, everybody that was in that room was tested. And the Cleveland Clinic's regulation was it didn't matter. Everybody except for the three of us on the stage was to wear a mask, and people from the Cleveland Clinic came over and offered the first family masks, thinking maybe they didn't have them. They were waved away, and the Commission on Presidential Debates has issued a statement saying, from now on, if you don't wear a mask, you're going to be escorted from the hall. So forget this question of being tested beforehand. Everybody was tested beforehand. No, I'm going to finish my question. Everybody was told to wear a mask. Why did the first family and the chief of staff feel that the rules for everybody else didn't apply to them?
Chris, we believe that masks are very useful. The president has worn them on many occasions, including visiting the hospital where he's now a patient. When he was visiting as commander-in-chief as a guest to visit soldiers there, he wore a mask. So we believe in masks. We also believe in some element of individual choice. People were distanced and they had been tested. Both of those things were true in that convention hall.
No, Steve, they weren't distanced, and there were rules, and there was no freedom of choice. They broke the rules.
I was there. I was there like you were, and they were distanced.
Why did they break the rules?
Those chairs were not close together. Look. Those chairs were not close together. And again, we also believe that people can make reasonable,
it doesn't matter, Steve. The rules from the Cleveland Clinic, they were close together, Steve. And the rules from the Cleveland Clinic were everybody wears a mask. Why didn't they?
Chris, the way you're starting to harangue me now actually reminds me of what you did to the president during that debate on Tuesday night when he had to debate not just Joe. No, and then he had to debate not just Joe Biden, but you as well. You were not a neutral moderator then. I don't mind tough questions. I welcome reasonably tough questions. But what I don't think is okay is for you to become the effective opposition to the president. Okay, and everyone there was tested in the crowd. They were distanced from each other. People can make reasonable decisions for themselves.
No, they can't. They're the rules, and they'll be kicked out next time. Steve, let me just simply say the president interrupted me and the vice president 145 times, so I object to saying I harangued the president. I know it's the talking point.
This is Chris Wallace finally losing his temper after his own life was put at risk at the first presidential debate. Wallace was one of the people directly exposed to Trump during Tuesday's debate, only to find out shortly thereafter that the president would test positive for coronavirus. And so if Chris Wallace seems especially pissed off, it's because Trump's flagrant disregard for the rules could have very well left Wallace himself in the hospital where Trump is right now. And that's because in the Trump campaign's desperation to try and prove that they're somehow invincible and that they can just will this virus into submission by pretending it doesn't exist, 0 members of the Trump family wore masks, despite rules in the Cleveland Clinic mandating that masks be worn. It's a combination of hubris, disdain for the rules, and outright ignorance that should explain pretty effectively why we're in the mess we're in right now. With these people leading the country, it's no wonder that we have 4% of the world's population and 20% of the world's cases. And that mismanagement extends right down to Trump's own family. It's telling, too, that instead of answering the question about why the Trump family didn't follow the rules and wear masks, all Steve Cortes can do is cry victim and pretend that Chris Wallace isn't being fair, just like supposedly he wasn't being fair at the presidential debate. But that is what the right does. They break the rules in epic fashion, and then when they're called out for it, they pretend that they're the ones being attacked. They're the victims. And it is getting so tired that even Chris Wallace shuts it down immediately. And just to address a few other points brought up in this interview, Cortes and the White House lean on this idea that all they have to say to give themselves cover is that people were tested beforehand. And the intent is to absolve themselves for not taking other precautions like wearing masks. But clearly getting tested isn't enough because people are still getting it. So how can you point to something as some catch-all solution when the problem it's supposed to solve is only getting worse? You can't say, well, people were tested, so we're all good, when what followed was a spate of people contracting the virus, including Donald and Melania, Chris Christie, Kellyanne Conway, Ronna McDaniel, Hope Hicks, Trump's campaign manager Bill Stepien and his assistant Nick Luna, Senators Mike Lee, Ron Johnson, and Tom Tillis. When that many people catch the virus at an event where there was testing, then guess what? Testing obviously isn't enough. Cortez also offers up some revisionist history that Trump's stance on masks is that they were very useful and he wears them on many occasions, which is just complete BS. Trump has unilaterally politicized the use of masks. As late as Tuesday, at the debate that Chris Wallace himself moderated, Trump literally mocked Joe Biden for wearing a mask.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
So to claim that Trump has been anywhere close to the right side of history when it comes to masks is simply divorced from reality. But Cortez qualifies the campaign's stance on masks by claiming that they also believe in individual choice. But here's the thing. Someone opting not to wear a mask is not an individual choice if it puts everyone else's life in danger. Someone else not wearing a mask means that anyone they come into contact with could get sick, and then those people will spread it to others beyond them. That is the entire root of the issue here. Masks aren't a personal solution, they're a public health solution. Consider too, we have speed limits in cars to keep other people safe. You don't get to just drive 200 miles an hour and claim that it's a personal freedom. We have dress codes like wearing clothing in public. You don't get to just walk around naked and claim that it's a personal freedom. We have rules in this country that people abide by. You don't get to just do whatever you want and then crow about how this is America and we have freedom here. The fact is that people like Steve Cortez and the rest of this administration can cook up whatever excuse they can think of to try and absolve themselves of the damage they've done and continue to do to this country. But with so many Republicans testing positive for this virus, they've become monuments to their own mismanagement. They can't protect this country if they can't even protect themselves. I have an announcement, and that is that I'll be live streaming the next debate between Kamala Harris and Mike Pence on Wednesday, October 7th with a special pre-show guest, Mary Trump. So to watch our commentary and then hear my real-time fact-checking of the debate, head on over to my YouTube channel, and next to the debate video at the top of the page, click Set Reminder. See you Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.